Well, you know the season is right around the corner when the AP releases their preseason top 25 poll. That's what happened earlier today. We are less than 2 weeks away from the start of week 0, and now we have our first set of top 25 rankings heading in to this 2025 college football season. If you've been a follower of the channel for a while, you know I'm not a big fan of the AP. I don't like the AP. I don't think they do a good job. I don't think their voters know what they're talking about. I think they're lazy. I don't think they truly watch the games. We despise them so much. That's actually why we started doing our own GE top 25 rankings, our own rankings here at the channel that we give you every single week. Our preseason GE top 25 poll will come out on Sunday, so just a little less than a week. We will have our own preseason rankings. But today, I wanted to kind of analyze what we're dealing with. You know, the GE rankings are not the ones you're going to see on TV each weekend. Any other channel out there, not going to see their rankings. We have to, unfortunately, deal with the AP and deal with the playoff committee when that time rolls around. So today, I wanted to kind of give you my quick thoughts on the preseason top 25 poll ahead of the rest of our predictions, ahead of our rankings coming out on Sunday. You bring up the rankings here on the screen, and I'm going to get into who I think is too high and who's too low first. But the first thing I want to address is Texas, right? And congrats to the Longhorns for the first time ever, which I was kind of shocked to find that out, right? I think many of you may have been too. Like, as great as Texas has been historically, the AP poll has been around since 1936. Texas has never been the preseason number 1 team. So for the first time in program history, they get that top spot. And I'd say that's well-deserved. You could argue it could have been Penn State, and it was very close, clearly, for the AP voters. Texas and Penn State separated by what, like 5 points? I mean, a very narrow margin between number 1 and number 2, the closest margin, actually, in a preseason poll since 1998. The Longhorns just edged out the Nittany Lions. You can obviously see that the SEC and the Big Ten dominated this top 25, right? In the top 10 alone, you had 4 SEC teams and 3 Big Ten teams. So 70% of the top 10 came from those 2 conferences. Then you had 2 ACC teams, and then, of course, Notre Dame and Independent. Overall, 16 of the 25 teams that you see ranked here are from the SEC and Big Ten. That's 64% of the poll. So 64% of the top 25 reside either in the SEC or the Big Ten, and that is not a shock considering how great these 2 conferences are and how dominant these 2 conferences are. You take a look also at what we were going to see in the first couple weeks of the season. You know, that's always the exciting thing. How many top 25 matchups will we see between week 0 and week 1? And the answer is 4. We get to open up with a top 25 matchup in week 0 over in Ireland. Number 22, Iowa State, and number 17, Kansas State. A game that has massive Big 12 implications, and obviously a great way to kick off the year with a top 25 matchup. Never can complain with that. Then you have number 1, Texas, at number 3, Ohio State in week 1, which is going to be very, very exciting. Obviously, we knew that game was going to be at least a top 5 game. I thought it very well could have been number 1 versus number 2 to open up the season. Instead, it's number 1, number 3. Regardless, one of the most anticipated games of the year, and the winner of that's obviously going to be the number 1 team in the country. Texas wins. They keep their top spot. If Ohio State beats Texas, then the Buckeyes, I think, will jump Penn State and would take that number 1 spot from them. And I think that would be rightfully deserved as well. You've got later in the night, number 9, LSU at number 4, Clemson, to a top 10 matchup there. And then on Sunday, number 6, Notre Dame at number 10, Miami. That's going to be on Sunday night. So 4 top 25 matchups. 3 of them, though, are top 10 matchups. So again, talk about an epic way to start the year. But I will tell you, again, I'm not a fan of the AP. This was not a perfect poll by any means. Our poll on Sunday is going to look a little bit different than what you see now from the Associated Press. Again, I'm not upset with really Texas being at 1. Honestly, the top 10, I'm not that upset about. Texas at 1's fine. You could have put Penn State there, and I would have been fine with that too. Ohio State at 3, maybe a little bit of high for the Buckeyes. Maybe. Honestly, if you're looking for teams that are too high, Ohio State I did have listed as one of them. I think they were more of a top 5 team, not top 3. Again, that margin is so slim. I probably would have put the Ohio State maybe at number 4, number 5, somewhere around there. I don't know if I would put them that high. Clemson at 4, love it. Clemson, to me, I do think deserved to be highly ranked in the top 10. I think some were surprised to see the Tigers being that high. I'm cool with that. That's how good this Clemson team's going to be. That's how high I am on this Clemson team this year. So I'm not upset with them being at 4. I'm not upset with them being over Georgia, Notre Dame, or someone like that. The rest, I'm not too upset about, but I do think Miami is overranked. That's a team that I think should not be in the top 10. And the reason they're there is because it looks better on paper. They're playing Notre Dame. We knew Notre Dame was going to be a top 10 team to start the year. It obviously looks a lot better to say, oh, look, Sunday night, a top 10 matchup. Not top 11, not top 12, not top 15, top 10. It just looks better. It sounds better. It adds more excitement to it. And the AP is notorious for doing that. They're notorious for slipping a team into the top 10, slipping a team into the top 25 to make sure that's a ranked versus ranked matchups or a top 10 matchup, to make the ratings look better, to make the scoreboard look better, to make the excitement and anticipation look better, to help out teams' resumes down the road to say, oh, look, they did beat this ranked opponent, they beat this top. That's what they do. That's what they do. It's a political game. It's a money game, right? Not every ranking's like that, but some are. And I think that's exactly what happened here with Miami. The Hurricanes, to me, are at least a top 15 team, but I don't think they should be number 10. I do not think they should be in the top 10. A team that lost 3 of their final 4 games last year, loses practically the entire offense from last year now. Yes, I know they had Carson Beck and they have talent there, but they're not going to be the same as last year. The defense looks solid, sure, but again, I just don't think Miami is top 10 caliber right now. I don't think they should be above Arizona State. I'm not sure they should be above South Carolina. Top 15, yes. Top 10, no. They did it for that Sunday night game against Notre Dame. I also think Florida is way too high. So now we're getting into it now. Florida is way too high. 15th? You kidding me? Look, I know there's a lot of hype surrounding the Gators this year. There is. This is a classic. Every year, the AP is notorious for having 1 or 2 teams that are grossly overrated and overranked. I'm not saying the Gators are overrated on a year-long basis. They're overrated right now. To take a team that was really mediocre last year, and again, I know they defied expectations, and to put them at 15th pretty much solely based on hype alone, if we're being honest. They've got a great quarterback in DJ Lagway who's struggling to stay healthy and had 12 touchdowns and 9 interceptions last year. So, again, not great stats, but we're anticipating that he's going to have a great year. We're anticipating that he's going to stay healthy. A lot of this is based on anticipation of Florida, not based on what we saw last year and what we really know much of them this year, right? We know they've got some talent coming back, but to say they're a top 15 team ahead of a team like SMU or Kansas State or Iowa State, I'd have all those teams ranked ahead of Florida if I was going to rank Florida at all. That's just absurd to me. So this is a classic case of the AP listening to the media, listening to their friends and their buddies, and saying, oh, Florida's going to be good? Oh, we should rank them high. To me, they are not a top 15 team. Top 25, okay. 15, no, not at all. I honestly would be okay with them maybe flipping down with A&M. For once, I'm actually buying a little bit more into the A&M hype than I am the Florida hype, and maybe could put Florida down at 19 or 20 and A&M maybe a little bit higher up than that. And typically, I'm not like that. So, again, no hate against Florida. I'm excited to see them in action. I'm not as high on them as many others, and I certainly don't believe they should be a top 15 team, and they have a lot more to prove to get to that point. I can also say the same for Oklahoma, though. A team that had a losing record last year, 6-7, once again, anticipating a lot that these transfers are going to do great things for the Sooners. John Mateer obviously being the biggest one. Jaden Knott's going to be good. The wide receivers are going to be good. But to take a team that went 6-7 and hasn't really lived up to the expectations of Brent Venables and have them as a top 20 team, I'm not really sold on that. Maybe have the Sooners between the 22 to 25 range would be more likely. Teams that are too low. Arizona State. So again, we mentioned Miami probably shouldn't be at number 10. These are nitpicky. Some of these are nitpicky, right? I might bump Arizona State up a spot or two. Maybe even flip Arizona State and Miami, or put Arizona State at number 10, Miami down to 12 or 13. I might be okay with that. But I just think this Arizona State team is probably getting slept on a little bit because they lose Cam Scatterboo. Just like Boise State is, the sky's falling because they lose Ashton Genty. Those 2 players were not their entire teams, right? There's a lot more coming back for the Broncos, a lot more coming back for the Sun Devils, and I just think Arizona State was probably slightly underranked here, but again, not by a lot. Iowa State, I think, was grossly underranked. To have the Cyclones at number 22, not even a top 20 team, surprised me. A team that went 11-3 last year was the Big 12 runner-up. They were 1 win away from making the college football playoff, and you've got them ranked at 22. They returned their star quarterback in Rocco Beck, their top 2 running backs. Yes, they lose some receivers, sure, but the offensive line's going to be strong. The defense is going to be strong and more healthy than they were last year, and they should know that. So if you're basing that off of who's coming back and the additions and things like that, like they're doing for Florida, like they're doing for Oklahoma, they should have done the same for Iowa State, and they didn't. I think Iowa State is way too low here. They might lose in Ireland. I actually did pick Kansas State to beat them when we did our game-by-game prediction. So they might lose to Kansas State. Doesn't mean Iowa State's a bad team. I do believe that 22 is way too low for them, and I could argue that Boise State's a little low as well. We're coming in right under the wire. 25 Unless I'm missing something, the only group of 5 program in the top 25 to start the year. Obviously, the group of 5 favorite to make the playoff this year. There's no doubt about that. But the Broncos, I think you could argue, could be up a few spots. Again, just because they lose Ashton Jeanty doesn't mean the sky's falling. This is a very, very good team, and probably will be in the top 25 for the entirety of the season, would be my guess. So all in all, guys, look, I mean, it could have been worse. I expect worse later on in the year, if I'm being honest with you. I don't have faith in the AP top 25. I don't have faith in the AP to do their job very well. They typically don't do their job very well. It's made up of a bunch of people that don't know football. I think most of the viewers out there know football better than them. Most of the analysts that are here on the YouTube or on ESPN or wherever, maybe, other platforms know football better than the AP voters. Not the worst poll in the world. Certainly could have been better. Some teams were overranked. Some teams were underranked. Some teams were just right. We will have our official GE Top 25 coming out on Sunday, where we will kind of fight back against these rankings. But regardless, this is what we've got, and that means the season's right around the corner. 4 top 25 matchups between week 0 and week 1, 3 of them coming in the top 10. Definitely can't complain with that. And again, it's the preseason poll. A lot of these teams won't even be here by season's end. A lot of these teams certainly won't be in the same spot by season's end. It's still talking season right now, and a lot is going to change between now and the end of the year. So take it all with a grain of salt. So guys, as always, thank you so much for watching us here at the Gridiron Expert on YouTube. Make sure to continue to like, comment, subscribe, share our videos, and check out everything down in the description below. That includes our website, thegridironexpert.com, home to our expert picks, some of the best college football and NFL spread picks in the entire country. Do not miss out on those. Again, the link for that down in the description below, along with our weekly newsletters, also over on thegridironexpert.com. Take advantage of those. Become a member of our GE Nation today. And once again, as always, thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time right here on the Gridiron Expert.
Yeah.